The exhibition, with the title Backstage, deals with temporality and obsolescence of human actions. The exhibition takes its title from one of the exhibited works, an installation composed of 3 large figures and projections of windows that simulate the entrance of light into the walls of the gallery. The figures of Backstage maintain poses reminiscent of classical sculptures. The ideals and past heroism are suggested by the bulk of their bodies, still full but now retired in shadow and silenced. Simulating zones of storage that harbor historical actors or dissembled sets that reveal grandeur both in the representation of ideas and in the artifice of its constructions. The power to evoke other worlds substitutes the symbolic power that once endowed the characters. The pleats of matter is composed of 3 panels, joined but separated by 2 vertical joints that, while dividing them, allow for the transition of the forces represented. The 3 panels in the style of an altarpiece or triptych are not hung, but rather lean against the wall at an angle. They are shown in the process of execution, of mounting or unmounting. Their symbolic value is transformed by evoking another reality other than what they would represent were they installed. This sensation of provisionality is augmented by the projection of light on the upper left angle of the sculpture, simulating light filtered through a window of a warehouse where the work is kept. Cobo sees this sculpture as an archetypical representation of actual humans, as we inevitably perceive ourselves through the mediation of scientific knowledge, as unfinished works in progress, not unitary, but a body formed by various bodies, a hive of beings generated by the material whose aggregate erases the individualities of the components, while contracting and expanding as it evolves in search of meaning. In The Spectator, the figure of the child is situated between the projector and the area of projection. The shadow of the child is projected amplified on the wall as part of the projection, always larger than any person in the public. The child's form is approachable, while the shadow produced by the child is potentially intimidating in its size. The spectator is object and subject at the same time. He has created the means to analyze reality based on mathematics, while at the same time he forms part of this same codified and measurable reality. The figure of the child in this installation receives on his back the light with numbers that measures and define him, as much as they define the images of the world that he contemplates. The work Back and Forth is also composed of 3-dimensional sculptures and a video projection. In the video projection, groups of 100 pixels correspond with 2-digit numbers, 00 representing the luminance of black and 99 that of white. As the film advances and the luminance of the different patches changes, the numbers alter constantly. The continual variation of numbers forms a background of digits in constant movement. In this way, the video lacks a narrative and instead acquires a pictorial texture. It is nature transmitting its different moods to the figures. There is a tension between the landscape animated by the movement of the numbers and the permanent change of the colors, and the figures that come across as inanimate, like transitory shadows of which we are part and which seem like accessories to the landscape. In the installation Still Life of Die-Casts with Child, a landscape unfolds in front of the boy, sown with forms that look anti-natural but semi-organic. The environment is disquieting only for one who has known other environments in other times or places. The boy and the forms that seems to come out of the floor are white in color, suggesting that we are entering a virtual terrain in which the borders of tangible forms are blurred. We are entering a space similar to our physical space. We share a floor, space, and architecture, but it is disconcerting because it lacks the colors to which we are accustomed. The sculpture Torso of a Wrecked Monkey is presented as a broken column formed by the superposition of the head above the body on a smaller base, which is on a larger one. Roman and subsequent portraiture show the desire to transcend not only individual features but also the material that embodies them, which logically will last much longer than the person portrayed.